Tuesday, 7:30.
Call to order. To pledge allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do a roll call. Councilwoman here. Councilwoman Lowe.
Here.
Mayor Nolan, I'm here. Councilwoman Leon.
Here.
And Councilwoman Urigo.
Here.
Okay. We want to welcome Beth Merkel from Atlantic Commons helping us out in our time of need. We're going to open up the first public portion for the, a little messed up here, sorry guys, give me 1 second. So basically the consent agenda, which we have all our resolutions on. I'm going to open up public. Name and address for the record, please.
Kim Scorpio Short Drive. The agenda packet that was out does not include all of the resolutions listed. If you could just give us a quick summary, it'd be much appreciated.
Okay, we got 1651, which is summer food program, kind of speaks for itself, that's the rec program. Sanitary sewer easement for Gravelly Point is 1652. 1653 is approving a raffle application for the Highlands Business Partnership. I'm assuming it's connected to the Pine Fest. 15154. Summer affairs permit for the VFW, same time frame. Appointing CDBG representative, Brian, our borough administrator, is 16155. 16156 is authorizing NJ Street excavation on Shrewsbury Ave. 16157 is approving disabled parking spot on Barbary Ave. 16158 is appointing temporary summer seasonal DPW employees. 16159 is renewing a liquor license for the VFW post. 16-160 is the payment of bills. 16161 is a raffle application to the Highlands Fire Department. 16162 is authorizing an auction through government deals. 16163 is prepare and mail estimated tax bills. And we apologize everybody that we didn't get this out there. We normally have it out there ahead of time, but with our issues with our obviously the loss of our clerk and our assistant clerk and Dwayne and all the folks in Atlantic and Beth have filled in greatly, but obviously we're still getting our act a little bit together with that.
If I may, we made sure that 16163 for the estimated tax bills was in the packet, as well as the two ordinances. There is another ordinance that the mayor will describe to you guys that just came in at 6:30, so that wasn't able to be put into the packet.
And that's 115.
Yes, 01615.
So we'll go over that later too. None of it, the one that Karen was talking about, doesn't change any dollars and cents or spend any money or change any zoning or hire people or anything like that. So it's nothing like a lightning rod issue, I don't think. But we're going to speak to that separately. Is that okay?
What are we changing with the summer food program? Increasing, decreasing, more people?
What had happened, the original resolution, I don't know if it was type of direct error, but there's a grant-funded portion that if they hit certain benchmarks, there's other documentation required. So there's 2 staff members that get compensated through that grant. And the way it was worded in the original resolution, it was an hourly compensation. So we're just correcting that. It's to be worded as a stipend up to a set dollar amount.
Based on attendance and enforcement in terms of the grant program.
Yeah.
Which is what we were on a month ago, and I think we, things worked it out, if you will. Anything else, Kate?
I mean, if we want to stick with this one, and Carol has a question on that. Yeah,
Sure.
Okay. The sanitary sewer easement at Gravelly Point?
Yeah.
What is that?
Sewer line is being relocated from under the home, and the borough is relocating the sewer line, and we are securing an easement and vacating the prior easement.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Just on the street excavation for Shrewsbury Avenue, we have a problem with New Jersey Natural Gas not fixing our roads back to the way they've been. This is a brand new, freshly paved road. Can we please withhold their payment until the road is put back to the way it's been?
There's very specific requirements in the resolution, which Dale could mention, as well as to the satisfaction of the borough officials when they restore the road surface. Apparently, there's at least 5 homes, I believe, that need either new sewer connections that, as a result of sewer expanding. But there are very specific requirements in the resolution, like it means they're going to cut the roads by using saw cuts, not a jackhammer. And also in repairing it, it's going to be done by way of infrared repair, and it's going to be done to the satisfaction of borough officials, including the borough engineer. Dale wants to.
And they know that we mean business now, because we've kind of let them go past with shoddy patchwork.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Okay. Where on Barbary Avenue is the disabled parking spot? I don't need a specific address, or maybe.
We did have an address.
Whatever you got.
67 Barbary Avenue.
63 Barber.
Okay.
You're
Oh,
going.
sorry, 67 Barber.
Yeah, it's
I
on
believe
the,
it's up towards Bay Avenue.
Patty Sarge,
yes.
she broke her hip. Right,
So if you're driving down towards the beach, it's on the right-hand side.
the first house on the right.
Okay, and I'll ask Pat about my questions on the payment bills. Thank you.
Ms. Buckler, you got your hand up?
Carol Bucko, 330 Shore Drive. I wanted to ask about Resolution 16158, appointing temporary summer seasonal DPW employees. Didn't we already do that? Did we do that wrong before again?
No, we didn't do it because we wanted to have the supervisor in place, and we wanted to make sure we kind of did the right things first instead of having the supervisor come in later. So now that person comes online, I believe it's the week of the Plan Fest, and these
So
folks
these
will-
people haven't been working up to this point?
No, they have not.
Oh, okay.
The purpose of it is, and if you read the new resolution, how they're on call, they're not guaranteed 32 hours or 10 hours. It's the new supervisor, it's a tool in his toolbox of human resources kind of thing. If
basically
they're not working, they're going home, and if there's work to be done, that's the supervisor's privilege, I guess.
Yeah, and
Make sure
it's
he
at his
does
discretion,
that.
basically.
At his discretion.
And we all spoke, I know that I did, I know a lot of us spoke to him before. He was hired, if you will, and kind of let him understand what we were looking for out of this, and this was part of it.
I just have a quick question on it. Did we contact the people that we're gonna hire? Because I believe one of them has found other employment. So I don't know if we've contacted them since we told them we weren't gonna hire them because there was no money. So they may have moved on already, for all I know.
I have not had any
Yeah.
communication with them.
So,
2 of them I know I'm still getting correspondence from,
Okay.
are we still gonna hire them?
yeah,
We
I
are.
know Russell's got a job.
And I think though that some of them are, I think that they'll, so what we're talking about, it's an on-call type of thing. My guess is that most of them are still gonna want to work out there in times there.
I'm gonna correct the statement that there was no money. There was always the money there, that it was allocated in the budget. But I thought it was prudent to, with the new BA coming on board, that our previous BA was tasked with getting us a supervisor, he failed to do that. The new BA came on board, my first request of the liaison to the DPW was, get me a working supervisor. He did that. I know my work experience. I like to know what staff I'm working with and be involved in what hiring and not hiring. So the money was always there, that false rumor out there that there was never money allocated, it's just blatantly false. So, but the money is there, but it's the discretion of the supervisor. I think that's important for people to understand.
Well, I know looking at it from the side of it, in my opinion, I want to have a supervisor there before we order the staff, if you will. Great, thank you.
I wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Buckler. I apologize.
I realize that Dwayne is doing 2 towns, and I realize he's probably very busy. But to not put the bulk of the resolutions in the agenda that's why we have so many questions.
It's okay, and we understand that. And we apologize to you, I don't think it's gonna happen next time, we had a couple of cross-ups, if you will.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's understandable, but I just would suggest that we put it back that way.
No question.
Thank you.
Carla, you have your hand up, name and address?
Carla Sacalo, 62 Browning Point Road. So that's wonderful that you hired a working supervisor. One thing you may want to consider that I've worked with in other municipalities where they're assigned, DPW workers are assigned over a 7-day work week, so that it helps with the overtime. Some have assignments on weekends, so that's just me, I don't know.
And now it's to the point where like when Rebecca said they got jobs, I think that they're still gonna be able to work.
No,
for
but I'm
us.
just saying in general.
I agree,
the
I had this
DPW
conversation with
schedule
the gentleman we hired.
is spread out over 7 business days in some municipalities rather than 5.
Well, especially in the summer here with the beaches and everything else in our events. I know I personally spoke to the gentleman on the exact same subject we're talking about, and like I said, he's done it already in a big town, so I don't think it's gonna, and it's a shore town too, so I don't think it's gonna be any surprise to him if that's, what we want. Anything else, Rob?
No.
Anybody else have any questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none, close the public portion. Would anybody want to, at the table, like to speak to any of these items separately? No? Okay. I'll offer the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan, seconded by Council President Leon. Roll call, Councilman Carr.
Here, yes.
He is here and voted yes. Councilwoman King?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Mayor Nolan, I'll say yes. Councilwoman Leon?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeRigo?
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda passes unanimously. Refunding MCIA bonds. Pat, you want to speak to this?
I sure can. Yeah, last meeting I kind of alluded to.
Sorry, that's ordinance 1613 for the records.
1613, yeah.
Please.
So we constantly review our debt. Any debt that we have outstanding, we go through it to see if we can refund it, just like a mortgage. I explained that last meeting. So we do have shared debt with Atlantic Highlands, and that debt is eligible to be refunded. So we're projecting to save about $53,000 on that issue. And this is a formal procedure to enable the town to go ahead and refund that debt.
Okay. Thank you, Pat. 1613 for the record. Reading and an introduction. So you have the ordinance to read? You have it.
I have here, but
Please, if you don't mind. Briefly.
I got it. Refunding bond ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $5,772,000 aggregate principal amount of general obligation refunding bonds by the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, to the Monmouth County Improvement Authority, the MCIA, for the purpose of refunding certain bonds heretofore issued by the Atlantic Highlands Sewage Authority to the MCIA.
And we're setting,
Just so the record's
Sorry.
clear, it's refunding bond ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $572,000 aggregate principal amount.
so we're setting a public hearing for this. I would say our next meeting, I believe, right now is scheduled for August 17th. Should we offer that, Brett?
Yep.
Okay, I'll offer that.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Card. Roll call, Councilman Card.
Yes.
Councilwoman King.
Yes.
Mayor Nolan, yes. Councilwoman Brian.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeRigo.
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously, so that'll be on for the August 17th council meeting, regularly scheduled. The next ordinance is 16-14, wind ordinance. Who has that to read?
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I want to talk about it a
Please.
little bit. This is just one more cog in the wheel to getting to a greener state. This is not talking about gigantic wind turbines that we talk about in Texas. This is talking about very small, they're little Atlantic Highlands cinemas. You've seen them on top of cinemas there. They're maybe 3 feet tall. And they're about this wide. And I said about 3 feet tall. They're not anything that you see when you're watching television and you think about wind turbines. It's specifically small wind, and it can only be, it has to be under a certain amount of kilowatts, no megawatt huge facilities or anything like that. Just as some people have solar panels on their houses, someone could do, or on the new Borough Hall, or on a commercial building, anyone could do something like this, and it's a much smaller installation. after, hopefully this passes tonight, we set it for a public hearing. I would like to send this to both land use and the environmental commissions, that we get feedback from all parties before we have the final hearing.
Would you like to offer those?
I would like to offer, and I would like to offer and have the public portion, the public, the second reading to be in that first meeting in September,
Okay,
only because give it a lot more,
To
give
go
it
to
more
the
time to go through the other land use board and environmental.
that'll be September 7th.
Right.
Okay,
So I would offer that.
okay, I'll second that. That's offered by Councilwoman Rion, seconded by Mary Nolan. Roll call, Councilman Carr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kane.
I'm gonna vote yes, I just have one other question. Can we also send it to the construction official and stuff? Because I know, you know, the fire department, you know, when solar panels went on roofs, there was all kinds of different things that we had to learn. There's stuff that has to be
Some
taken into
regulations or whatever.
I sent it
consideration.
to Dale, we can also send it
You
to.
know, I don't know, yeah, I don't know,
Paul
if
as well,
Paul, it's just,
Okay,
you know,
and this
probably
we can find
something
our way back into.
seen, but since it's brand new, so we know what to be ready.
Good point, absolutely. Okay, so you vote yes?
Yes.
Okay, I vote yes, Councilwoman Rion
Yes.
and Councilwoman DeRigo.
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. 16-15 I have here, I'm gonna read it for you folks. This original ordinance was passed on October 3rd, 2013, and this was for change, all we're doing tonight is changing the title from the original title, which was sewer, drainage, sewer storm, to streetscape, to finish the streetscape. We have 607,000, is that correct?
Available in the
Available.
budget account.
And we're changing this so we can tap into that dollar amount. So bond ordinance amending bond ordinance, number 03-26, provides for the Highlands Flood Mitigation Project, heretofore finally adopted by the Borough Council of the Borough of Highlands and the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey on October 3rd, 2013, that was the original pass, to amend the description set forth therein to change the project to provide for various street and streetscape improvements, Phase 2. That was what we talked about, that didn't make it on there, and I apologize to you, but it doesn't change any dollar amount, it doesn't raise anything, doesn't hire anybody, it just changes the verbiage, just so we're all crystal clear. I will offer that.
I will second it with the caveat, this is what everyone was talking about, bridging the gap on Bay Avenue. So this is to provide both ADA compliance, the corners, all of the stamped concrete, as well as lighting.
Okay,
No trees?
anybody else at the table want to weigh in on it?
It's got no trees, we just thought it's not in the budget.
That would be
But
phase
we're
3, we believe.
saying-
So,
Just so people, by doing this, as Carolyn said, it allows us to get the piping in and the lighting, stuff that you can't fall the concrete. We can cut a hole for a tree, cut off, put a bike rack in or whatever.
and for the record again, sorry,
It's a good thing.
for the record again, no money's changing, no one's getting hired, no one's changing zoning, no one's doing anything. We're just changing the verbiage on the original ordinance. Okay? I'll have a roll call, Mr. Carr,
Yes.
okay? Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan, yes. Councilwoman Rion?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeRigo?
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. Other business, bike route safety, Allison Urbanski.
She is not able to make it tonight,
Okay.
Johnny's under the weather, so
Okay,
they asked to be put on the next agenda.
so can we please put them on for August 17th? In other business? Approval of a block party in Atlantic Street for August 13th. It doesn't not coincide with the plan, so that's correct?
No.
And it's from noon to 10 p.m.
I believe they had it last year also.
It sounds familiar to me too. There's no laws being broken here. Obviously, they want to block up the street, I assume. And that's why they don't have the block party on the table. And
Chief, are you okay with it?
Yes, they had one last year, so.
no
So I
issues,
thought
Joe.
we didn't have any issues last year.
There's no issues with the marina?
No, they bought the marina last year, there was no issue.
Because the marina can get out through.
Well, they cars
Yeah.
cutting into it.
Is everybody okay with this at the table? Okay, we do a roll call. Okay, Councilman Carr?
Yes.
Okay, that's a yes. Councilman Kane?
Yes.
Okay, I say yes too, maybe not.
Yes.
Councilman Rion? Councilman DeRigo?
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimous. Chief Lewitt has advised us there's a body camera notification. Claudette, you have it, you want to read it as a liaison?
On August 15, 2016, the Highlands Police Department will implement the use of body-worn cameras by all officers performing the patrol function. The use of these cameras will be in a manner consistent with policies and directives issued by the New Jersey Attorney General and the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. These cameras are viewed as a valuable asset intended to assist law enforcement officers in the prosecution of certain offenders by augmenting an officer's testimony with a video and audio record of the incident. Additionally, this equipment will aid in the investigation of citizen complaints. The Highlands Police Department strives to be a leader in the professional delivery of police services through the pursuit of innovative service delivery strategies. As such, we have utilized an in-camera camera system since 2004, the benefits of which have proven to be invaluable. The foregoing benefits provide ample reason for this department to deploy the use of these body cameras. This statement is official notice intended to inform the public by directive that the Highlands Police Department will be implementing body-worn cameras. Any questions regarding this notification can be directed to Chief Blewett and Captain Robin Burton at 732-872-1188.
Thank you, Councilman DeRico. Chief, when does that start?
We're gonna implement them hopefully on August 15th.
Perfect.
We will have this notice on our website.
Facebook page, all that
And
good
we'll
stuff.
notify the surrounding papers.
So all the officers will have it then, or are you phasing it in, or everyone's gonna have it?
Every officer will have it.
Okay, I don't think that's a bad thing, I think it's a good thing, thank you. The discussion for FEMA high watermark program, that you guys?
Yeah, well, this is something I had put on the agenda. There was a couple of residents that had seen other surrounding towns get this program through FEMA. Did a little research, reached out to them. They were actually very pleasant. And what it is, it's a program to basically do education on living in areas that are flood prone.
Okay.
So they'll do a very extensive campaign on educating the residents on living where the water rises. They will put out some signage where the water was high, so that way you know what we've been through. We have a call on Monday with FEMA Dale too, and I'll let him talk a little bit more about the program. But the gist of it is basically educating people living in flood-prone areas.
Now, stupid question, do we want that? Listen, if we all, I think everyone that's lived here more than 4 years know where the water was in their house and the surrounding areas. Do you want a reminder and my mind, an impediment to other people coming in from a once-in-a-lifetime, we hope, storm?
I
You would use those high
had
water-
lots of residents asking why we weren't in. I had at least
I
10.
didn't ask me.
I think it's.
Because it was in the Two Rivers
It's a
Times and people
great-
saw it and asked.
Education is the best solution to solving problems, and I couldn't agree with that.
Who does it around us?
It was in the Two Rivers Times, so I'm assuming it's probably zebra, one of the
Yeah,
towns
yeah.
covered by them. That's, Brian had fielded some calls with our people in Borough Hall asking the same thing, so. I'm an advocate of education, so
No,
Sandy's
I'm-
never gonna go
I
away.
want anybody
It happens, but.
certain things. Carly, want to weigh in on this from the bid?
Education is fine, but what kind of signage do we want to make?
Don't put, no, I don't know.
We have not been talking
Big X.
until Monday.
Explore.
Or from this land use board, would you want to weigh in?
Yes,
If you look at the website, it's the high water.
I reported on this as well, and it might be the reason that some people asked for it. In addition to the signage, and it's unobtrusive signage, it's a nice sign that this is where the water came. They have them down at the Belford Ferry, and other places in Middletown. But one of the additional benefits is of having this program, it improves the community's rating with FEMA, which will eventually impact flood insurance.
So it's a good thing.
So it's a good thing for the community.
And Art, for the record, your name and address?
Art Gallagher, 158 London Avenue.
Thank you, sir. Please.
So I just basically wanted to have the discussion if we're all on board. I wouldn't want to waste Brian
Well,
or
I think we
Dale's
definitely want
time.
to look into it if that's the case, or what our work,
But I'm sure there's more benefits than the,
And the track.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We didn't put it on the agenda, and that was an error again. Dale, you want to do a brief, or Rob, a brief for your engineer's report? You prepared it to the public?
Yeah,
You
sure.
don't gotta, whatever the highlights are.
Yeah, no problem. I can go through it real quick. Basically, the quick updates is the streetscape project is out in the street now. It is winding up. They're moving towards punchless phase. A lot of the street furniture is in. The trees are in. All the concrete's done. So it's basically just a couple punchless items to get this squared away. Everything with EDA has been going smooth at this point as far as getting all the documentation in for reimbursement, so that's a good thing. Shore Drive Phase 2, that's pretty much complete with the exception of there might be some work associated with removing the rumble strips. We'll approach that as we get further direction. The Shrewsbury Avenue North Street project is pretty much complete. They are also on punch list. There's a couple items that they had extras with a sewer repair and some additional curbing, but that project is pretty much wrapping up in the same status as the other two. So we'll be able to close on that shortly. Mayor, I actually have some CD documents for you to sign tonight before you leave. Veterans Park Electric, I reached out to the vendor that's donating the material, provided them with a materials list. So he's going through that now to see what he can provide, what he needs, so on and so forth. So once we know exactly what he has, if we have to get anything to supplement him, then we could finally get that out on the street and move that to bid. Bay Avenue Streetscape Phase 2, there was you move forward with changing the ordinance to fund it. Bids actually came in very well, especially for the base bid, which includes the sidewalk, the conduits, I'm not going to make it up later, and the ADA ramp. So that's something that this council has to move forward to approve if you choose to do so. Other than that, moving forward with a preliminary assessment on the Borough Hall, the proposed Borough Hall site. A lot of the FEMA stuff is, everything is in. Right now, the project worksheets we've been working on, everything's under review in various stages of review, whether with NJOEM or with FEMA. So hopefully we get some good word on that soon. The CDBG application that we submitted for the sewers, that was received. Everything is in order with that according to the county. We will be presenting that on August 3rd to the committee. I will personally be doing that presentation. And then other than that, the only other thing I do have is I'm sure everybody's aware the state has put a stoppage on many of the projects under the Transportation Trust Fund. We had two projects that were listed, one being Shore Drive, which is, again, pretty much complete. The other one being Shrewsbury Avenue, which is, again, pretty much complete. So it didn't really hinder anything that we're doing. Miller Street is on that list also, but we haven't moved forward with that yet. So there's nothing that, nothing contract-wise that's really, that's in jeopardy right now with that stoppage.
Okay.
All right, that's pretty much it.
Pat, you want to brief for finance?
Yeah, sure, just two little points here. The audit field work is complete, the report's actually been typed, it's in draft form. I understand it's going to be a closeout meeting early next week, and that report will be available and distributed probably in a week or so. Nothing glaring, it seems like we got a pretty good audit report there. But there's one issue that we have to get from the prior auditor, and then once that's complete, we can read the report. The second thing is the tax bills. We're gonna, our budget's been approved by DCA, so our budget's in pretty good shape. We do have some changes that we want to make, and speaking to Brian about that. But we can't adopt until we get notification of our state aid. So we're expecting to get notified July 1st, and that hasn't happened. I guess there's some battles going on at the state, so we're sitting and waiting for aid numbers, if we get any. So we're hoping to get a similar number to that of last year, which was over $400,000. So in the meantime, we're going to send out estimated tax bills, and that was the purpose of that resolution.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Brian, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Nope. Just got deals auctions. We've got rid of 2 vehicles already.
Which is fantastic. How much did we?
It was approximately $20,000.
I know we've been talking about that a lot when I was on the budget committee, why that wasn't happening fast enough, and so I applaud you for getting that done.
Just passed a resolution authorizing some other surplus equipment to
Nothing better than
get rid of. There's 2 fire trucks and 2 ambulances. I'm in discussions with a separate broker about that, so I think it might fetch a higher price than using Brookfield.
Like a novelty type of product.
Yeah.
That'd be great, because we bring that to the table, and I think we'll all be for that. Thank you. Tell that to everyone. Anything? We just didn't put the committee reports on, that's right.
Oh, okay. I do have the fire department. I'll just read it real quickly. This is the only one I have. Calls, 14 total calls in the month of June. The Highlands Fire Department responded to 14 calls. These calls range from smoke detector and CO alarm activations, motor vehicle accidents, and mutual aid, medevac, and multiple water rescues. Training: the members of the Highlands Fire Department perform fire rescue boat training. The HFD tested members on the boat handling skills as well as firefighting techniques used for marine firefighting. This training is vital to ensure safe operations through the boating season. Notable calls on 6/11/16, the Highlands Fire Department responded to a single-car motor vehicle accident. The driver of the vehicle lost control and HFD was needed to open the door to remove the occupants safely. In the afternoon of 6/21, the Highlands Fire Department responded to a water rescue on the Shrewsbury River, and on 6/23, they responded to Seabright to assist the police department with operations. The Highland Fire Police also responded to all fire calls during the month of June and assisted the HPD with traffic control. I would also like to thank the fire department and Captain Measy or Chief Measy, and also Chief Blewett for the police department for the cleanup that they did last night that most of you have seen or saw on River Witch. The guys did that on and women did that on their own time, and I'd like to thank them on behalf of myself and the council.
It's a great job, thank you. Karen?
A couple of things. The green team finally, Sustainable Jersey got back to us with lists of questions for all everything that we submitted to them. So now I've got to go back and run through all of those and resubmit. Hopefully, once we get our accreditation, which should be in the fall, we can start applying for grants to help out. Also, the communications committee. We have 2 finalists for the new website, and I am trying to set up some interviews, presentations with them, so we can share with us.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to bring one thing to the table. At the next meeting, we're going to be voting on, I believe, a housing element and fair share plan that was prepared for us by Hiring Grove. They're one of the, I would say, one of the top 5 agencies in the state that work with very much planning and COA, and they work with our land use board and obviously for the borough, and they put together what I think is a good plan. We passed that at the land use board that myself and Councilman Carr sit on, and it's going to come back to this table in the August meeting, and the anticipation is we're going to talk about that again, let everybody know what it means, and it strengthens the borough and helps us with our any type of lawsuits or anything like that with fair housing and COA. Correct?
I actually didn't print it out because it wasn't on the agenda, so I wasn't totally sure if we were doing it or not. But everything recreation is posted to the Highlands website. We have a recreation meeting set for Monday, I believe, correct? And schools are kind of light in the summer, although they're still meeting. There's not as much going on.
Councilman Carr, do you have anything?
Just one thing, Sandcastle, do you want to talk about the Sandcastle?
Name and address.
Well, yeah, I wasn't there, so I don't know if you want to.
Name and address, please.
Oh, sorry, Greg Wells, 246 Bayside Drive. We had our Sandcastle, our first annual Sandcastle event this weekend. Very, very hot, but very, very fun. We had 8 competitors, fierce competitors. Check out our Facebook. Check out Facebook for some pictures. These things were incredible. There was a drum circle. There was an art exhibit. Really a fantastic event. So hopefully we'll be doing.
I was going to say, is there plans to do it again, Greg, this summer?
I think
Sometime
maybe
in
not
August?
this summer. We haven't talked about it yet, but
Okay.
it was definitely a 2 thumbs up.
Awesome.
And thank you, Jackie, Maureen, Arnie, everyone that helped with it.
Awesome.
Katie.
Yeah, which Facebook page? The
Uh,
Arts Council or?
I always get them confused. I think it's posted to all of
So check them out. Is the theme. Councilman Carr, do you have that? Okay.
We're good.
Public portion? Name and address for the record. We usually start on this side of the room and go this way. Please.
Douglas Lentz, 3 Cornwall Street, Highlands, New Jersey. I believe that the council received a letter from my attorney addressing the fire lane issue on the end of Cornwall Street. I was hoping to interject before that it got painted, but apparently there was some big rush to get this done. We offered a compromise plan, leaving some parking spaces that are primarily used for my residents, and in some sort of haste, this had to get done in a hurry. I don't know if you want to read this letter from the attorney.
Sure.
Well, we have been.
Are you guys all aware of this?
Absolutely.
That I had concerns with this, and I was trying to bring it to the council before that it got done, so I could voice my concerns and voice a compromise and have a conversation about it before it was shoved down my throat?
Well, I think it got scheduled and then got rescheduled for the new BA coming on board. So I think it was delayed at least one time.
It was delayed one time. Mr. Card notified him on the first time, and as it was left at that meeting, it was my understanding that it was sort of tabled until further consideration, meaning that I would be able to voice my concerns at a public meeting as this forum. And in intern, my plans and my letter essentially arrived either the same day or the day before or the day after. And I don't know where we go from here now, because this is an unbelievable burden on me and my family, and I think it's overkill. I think it's unnecessary, and I think it's just wrong. The state law doesn't require a 30-feet fire lane to clear the whole street. It's ridiculous. The spots that were used were my spots, essentially. There's nowhere to park. This is a problem that we have for 3 months of the year, and now we're blanketing it with this law that is going to be there for the whole year. So all the other 8 months, December, January, February, March, and April, when there's nobody around there, I can't park there. Deliveries can't park there. No one can park there. Okay? If you're gonna apply the law to me, then apply it to everybody. This is the end of North Street. You can't get a fire truck down the end of North Street. My house is on the end of that street. If my house is on fire and the wind's blowing out of the north, you're not going to put the truck on the south. You're going to want to get down there. Now, why don't they go down and paint North Street 30 feet wide, fire lane? Why don't they go to bars, between bars and movies? It's the same situation. There's not a 30-foot fire lane there. Why do I have to have it? How do I get my plan considered? Every fire lane that I researched was 20 feet wide. The road is 29 feet wide. 9 feet leaves plenty of room for a car, and 20 feet left over is plenty of room for a fire truck on the south side of Cornwall Street. Why couldn't we do that? Why did we have to do the whole thing? Never mind the fact that I asked for sidewalks. That I did a facelift of my building this winter. I asked the old borough administrator that I want to put new sidewalks in. He said they didn't have no money, but basically feel free to do it yourself. So I invested $8,000 of my own money, no problem. It couldn't run down fast enough to try to paint them yellow. And now there's sidewalks that I can't even park at, that I paid for, and they had no money for it at the time, but of course they had money to paint the whole street yellow, big stripe. And again, it's selectively enforcing it on me. And it's not right, and it's not fair. So where do we go from here?
Now, I'll give you my understanding of the background. If anyone here tells me I'm wrong, please tell me. We had it scheduled to do, we didn't do it for whatever reason. I know in the interim you said you spoke to one of the council members. The next thing it was scheduled to do, we did it, and we got the letter 2 hours later after it was done. Just to give you an idea of the scenario.
I kind of understand that.
No, I'm just letting you know that that's my understanding of those events. Whatever conversation there was in between there when it was delayed to when it happened, I wasn't privy to. If somebody had a conversation with you and made arrangements or told you to be able to come to a council meeting, that was not related to this council.
Okay, with that said, no one ever approached me that it was being done in the first place. It was never told to me that, Doug, this is our decision. Like it or not, this is what we're going to do. No one had the courtesy to pick up the phone, come to see me, and say, this is going to be a fire lane. And I would have simply said, like I said in my letter, I said, look, I have a plan that's going in front of the council. Can they please delay it until this council meeting and at least let me be heard until it's painted? Because once it's painted, it's over. And basically, it's over now. Now, you're going to apply the law to me, apply it to everybody then. I don't understand why that this is happening.
Brian, what is the mechanism somebody has to,
Well, I represent the borough, and you can speak with your own attorney. My understanding is the letter from your attorney came in after the fact.
That's what
I
I'm
can't speak to that.
2 hours later.
It wasn't forwarded to fire prevention for their consideration because we do appreciate that you presented an alternative proposal. He disagreed with the assessment, and that's where we stand.
Yeah, I understand. And what is a minimum regulation for a fire lane? It's 20 feet. It's not 30 feet.
I had the conversation, Doug. I didn't know about the painting either, and the streetscape, the short drive, Shrewsbury Avenue. I was involved in
With
every
yeah.
part of that. I'm disappointed with the lack of communication as well as a city council member. We get a phone call from you that morning.
Yes.
But you were afforded some leeway in there to get to your attorney. I encourage you to get your attorney to write a letter to the governing body. Somehow that didn't happen in a timely manner. To move forward in a positive environment, may I suggest that maybe you, with your attorney, with ours, with Mr. Parker, our fire marshal, sit down and have a roundtable discussion. That's what I was trying to encourage that day. So maybe we can explore options or solutions. I don't know. I'm not a fireman. I'm not a fire marshal. But we have to respect the laws, and I think that's what you're offering to this table.
Absolutely, Mr. Carter.
I think I would add one thing, let's have our borough administrator.
I'll say our borough administrator, the key players, I say, the
Listen,
key players.
when we left that day, when everyone was there, it was my understanding that it had to be brought to the council and presented to the council. And my letter got 9 days before this meeting, you know, and so somehow you guys were already scheduling to do it again, and not even considering that there was a letter coming. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know I had concerns about it. You know I had wanted to offer an alternative plan.
In all fairness, Doug, what did you do that next day? Did you go to your attorney's
I
office?
absolutely did. I mean,
Why did your attorney take so long to write the letter?
well, I also went to
We're trying to be fair here, and I'm trying to let's do the right thing and set up a meeting. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for the letter. I'm asking my fellow council members to allow us to sit down and have a conversation. We're not going to work it out here, obviously. But what I'm asking my fellow council members to sit with Mr. Lance, with the principals involved, and see if we can work it out, and then come back to the next council meeting if we have a solution. We're not going to solve it here. Because Mr. Parker has a right to, our fire marshal has a right to be heard on his position. You have a right to be heard, and I think in the spirit of cooperation, we can do that.
I would agree, and I think that we need to obviously have our borough attorney and administrative quarterback that meeting, because we have two things. We want to be fair to, obviously, you know, Doug has been there for decades and his family, but also uphold the law. I think there should be a happy medium we can meet on. We don't schedule those things, just so we're all on the same page. And that first conversation, I didn't know it even happened. Not that we would change anything, but here's the reality. That's what I think Mr.
well, the reality is it's on the ground now. It's the
understand.
reality. That's the reality.
But I think us saying right now to set up a meeting, these guys are available tomorrow or the next day. I'm not the professional guy, right? So my point is, they're ready to go tomorrow or the next day. Let's have that meeting.
And see what we can come up with.
That's really the only way to get this resolved. Social media and everything else is not. Let's handle it together.
Are you okay with that? I mean, that's what we're offering.
Hey, listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm fine. Okay.
But we're not saying you're wrong.
No,
We're saying
I-
maybe we can all be right in a different manner that helps less impact you.
I thought this was the matter. I thought me submitting a letter to the council, me submitting plans to an alternative, and the timing was off. You know, what the big rush was, I'm not sure. Well,
And to Doug's point, I agree. I think we could have done a better job of communicating. I'm not faulting any
You
of our
know.
professionals or anything else, but let's sit down in the next 24 to 48 hours. I mean, these guys read. I mean, you'd be available to do
I mean, even if Mr. Card knew that I had objections to it, said, listen, Doug, there's nothing else I can do, they're coming tomorrow, I would have said, hey, look, the letter is in the mail, or it's on FedEx, or wherever it was.
Well, I think he probably assumed, like I would, that we were going to have another conversation as a group, and that didn't happen for whatever reason. So there's a lot of,
Well,
inaction to go around. Let's say that.
conversations are good, but I mean, we need facts and what's required.
Well, the conversation is normally resolved with direction, with people giving.
Listen, I'm all for it. You know, I'm here for resolution. I'm not here to make enemies.
I hear you.
You know, I've been around here a long time.
For a long time.
I've been around here a long time, and I feel very pissed that this happened in this way.
And I apologize to you that it happened that way.
You know, as Mr. Gagan will attest to, I was quite upset when I went to his office.
I don't blame you.
You know, because frankly, they went down there early in the morning when they knew that I would be sleeping, and they were done at 8:15 and 8:30 and gone. So, you know, it was done with some sort of secrecy, in my opinion.
What do you want to say, Brett?
Some of the information I got from Mr. Parker, despite what Mr. Lentz is conveying, they are parking spots that has been designated as fire zone since 2009. Mr. Lentz did challenge that to the Monmouth County Construction Board of Appeals a number of years ago. They were preparing their case. He withdrew his appeal. From what I've been told, there have been frequent violations there since. I guess certain times of the year, these violations might be overlooked. I'm not sure. Despite his claim, a subcontractor was hired to go out and paint. I'm sure they don't know what his sleep schedule is, so there
Well, it also
was
doesn't happen.
no malice intent. And it's very feasible to do that kind of work early in the morning when there's less traffic, especially in terms of business, but.
So can we have some sort of discussion?
Sure.
See if we can come up with a resolution upholding everything that we're trying to do in the, spirit of the law, but understand this is a partner in our community for multiple decades. And we want to make sure we do all we can to not impact his
And the timeframe.
daily operation.
It was first scheduled, so we held off and actually
I
did it was
understand.
about a month.
And again, I just want to go forward. Let's try to resolve this and get at least impactful as we can while upholding the law.
Okay, so
Can
where
Ryan reach
does,
out?
where does that leave me? Okay,
Can we
good,
reach
good.
out to you tomorrow?
I mean, tomorrow is fine, I mean, we don't have to rush, because nothing's gonna happen.
I don't want, but you know what, Doug? I don't want all of a sudden now it's August and
Yeah, well, I understand.
like right now, I'd have the meeting tomorrow if I was you, if I could.
Well,
I'm not saying tomorrow, but I'd be having a conversation tomorrow to set up the meeting next week.
Okay,
It's on you guys. I mean, he's gonna take the call, so if you call and if you wanna have your attorney there, it'd probably be a smart thing.
yeah,
So when find out that person's schedule and ours are, they're not ultra flexible, they're pretty flexible.
okay, very well,
And then, obviously, if there's no satisfaction there, we can have another conversation.
okay,
Fair enough?
fair enough.
And I'm sorry it happened the way it did. I will say this, that I think a lot of us were surprised, but that doesn't mean it was malice. It was one of those things. And I apologize to you.
Thank you.
And we'll do our best to resolve it.
I will look for an apology, but an explanation would be nice.
And on all parties involved, we hope we can resolve it where everybody's going away on it.
Listen, I'm not asking for a lot,
I understand.
you know.
And I'll say again on the
and-
record, you and your family have been great partners.
And I understand the need for a fire lane, that's fine, you know.
Maybe we can all we got a lot of smart people on both sides, maybe we can all work it out.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Scott, did you have anything you wanted to, no? No? Good.
Kim Square, Pittsburgh Drive. Since it was brought up, what is our status in the community rating system? Are we even in it yet?
I don't know.
I think Dale would know.
Yeah, I can attest that. They have not let us into the system yet. Because of all the discrepancies early on between the A and the B zone and the construction, the guidance that they gave us. So we have requested to get into the system, and they have not honored that request as of yet.
Okay, thank you. There was a property on Bay Avenue that just recently cut down some trees. I'm assuming they would do the proper permitting process. What is the borough's plan for replacing these trees? Doris and Ed's also cut down C Street cut down trees by Doris and Ed's lot. It seems like an awful lot of trees are coming up and they're not being replaced.
Well, I'm gonna speak to that.
Please, sir.
Yeah, first, all the permits were filed, and the trees that were cut down on that lot, they were, Huffnagel, I talked to the gentleman, they needed to come down, they were gonna come down one way or the
Some are
other.
down, you said?
They were on their last legs. I know Huffnagel did one on Miller Street, one of the smaller trees that were actually quite big. So the trees were all permitted properly. I don't think it's our responsibility to replant anything there. Now, if they go to develop something on that property, then at that time, there might be requirements for them to plant trees. But at this point in time, I don't think we have any jurisdiction on forcing someone to plant trees.
I don't think there's jurisdiction, but what's happened in the past, and I'm sure this will come back to bite me since I said this, the Shade Tree Commission has, when they've seen X amount of permits come through,
Right.
they have some type of, ideas that come to us usually in a biannually fashion. So if there's X amount of trees that come down in the next, say, 3-4 months, I think somebody will approach us from that commission to do something somewhere.
So we don't have an ordinance that if you cut down a tree, you have to replace it somehow, some way?
If I can, only
Please.
because I had gone through this process. We had a failing beech tree that was badly diseased and had to go through the tree commissioner and everything else. And yes, you do need to replace it, but it does not necessarily need to be in that spot.
Right.
And because beech trees are fairly large trees, I replaced it with 3 smaller trees on my property that never existed before.
Okay, so there's an ordinance that I can look at and then just kind of keep an eye on it?
You know, when you want to just do tree ordinance.
Search.
Shade
Okay.
tree ordinance, that's it.
Okay, I'm not done, Carlos.
And besides which, you're
Um,
past
Yeah,
You can
you're done.
I-
Already passed the first row.
I have a question about the SWIFT notifications. I got like half a dozen emails and a bunch of voicemails for one single storm. They came rapid fire, one right after the other. And then we've had like 3 storms since, and I get nothing.
Really?
What's going on? And it's not like I've been dropped because my friends, like, I'm like, did anybody get any notifications about the storm? And nothing. Nothing about flooding, nothing about, torrential downpours.
I will tell you that I complained because I had 6 for the, I think, same one you're talking about, the one that.
Yeah, one right up there.
What
It's
had
like
happened
I'm
with
being
that?
punished for complaining about
Yeah,
something.
A lot of being punished too if you were, so.
There was a feature of that system where they were able to directly link it to the National Weather Service. So every time the National Weather Service sent out an alert or update, that triggered the notification. So it was an automatic thing. Because of the many complaints about it, the OEM has disabled that feature, and they will take care of sending out notifications manually.
Like when they truly affect our community.
Yes.
Okay,
That's good.
and speaking of SWIFT, can we use it when roads are closed in town? Not just Bay Avenue when they were doing the streetscape, but there was an accident on 36 within the last week or two, and 36 was shut down, and a lot of people.
Last weekend, right?
It was actually on a weekday. It was
There
during
was
the
one on
weekend.
Sunday too.
Yeah, Sunday morning.
So people don't know. C Street was flying through town because now they're late because now there's traffic in town because they can't get down 36. Wondering if maybe we consider using the Swift reach for that.
Yeah, Joe,
I
the
think
police
maybe
department
they
can
asked Joe,
make
Well,
notifications.
we can if it's gonna be long-term, and depending, I wasn't here for that last accident on the highway. It's gonna be long-term, we can, but it's only gonna be for like an hour, it's gonna be really hard to do that.
When you see something that's gonna be shut down for,
And most likely they're gonna be doing fire first aid.
so when they do an assessment, Joe, it's like multiple hours, you're talking about half a day or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like investigation has to happen. Because as you know, along with the motorcycle on the shore, on the bridge, that was the investigations and everything else, so that was like, what, 4 or 5 hours, I think, right? It was wild.
I'm not sure how long that was, right, I'm not sure.
That was Sunday morning coming in.
Maybe we can evaluate the impact of the incident because I would think an accident with 36 closed both ways on peak commuting time on weekday morning might warrant it. I mean,
Good.
maybe it
Oh, yeah,
doesn't.
if it's gonna be,
I mean, even if they're gonna have it out of the way within, half an hour, but it's a peak travel time.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, why, it's gonna take, it usually takes about 15 minutes to put one out.
Oh, okay.
So by the time you dispatch and do that, if it's
It's
only
only
like
like
half an
hour,
hour, it's
okay.
kinda over, but I understand
I
what you're
didn't
saying
realize it was
completely.
that kind of delay.
Yeah,
Just a little bit,
you gotta type it out, and you gotta put it in.
say what you typed and all that, and it's gotta match up.
keep it to
Done it.
40 characters.
Anything else, Kim?
I think that's about it. Oh, the snowflake grant. Is there, I believe there was money for, the flooring in here and some other projects. Has that all been spent? Are we still waiting on something?
I'm not sure.
I don't think that's been sent.
No, I think that it was here and the court, and we didn't do the court because of the manufacturer issue with the layering of the court, and that was being pursued.
Right, off the top of my head, it has been spent, but I'll sit down.
I think a portion of it is not being spent. It would be good though, it's the second time that somebody's asked about it, and I know that it definitely was money for this floor in here, and then there's something in the playground. So we should definitely look at that and see what it is.
Will do.
Put our resources for what it was, given to us for.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.
Ms. Butler, you had a question?
Yes, I want to talk about the cars on Shore Drive and parking.
Okay, just in general, or this side basically, or towards the ferry?
Yeah, towards the ferry. Now the ferry has 2 lots. Today is the first time that the second lot was really utilized. We've had 2 or 3 cars over there, but that's it. They're parking right up to the driveway. As a matter of fact, I called the police one day because the bumper of the car was in our driveway. Now, all the other driveways down there have yellow lines, however big. We have none. We can't get out of our driveway. We have to come all the way out practically until we can come out. And by that time, the car that's zooming past us is hitting our front end.
Right.
So I don't know what the solution is. And Joe, you said that we didn't need the resident-only parking anymore, but I think we do.
On Shore Drive, you're talking about.
Yeah, by the,
Hang on,
by
Brad.
the.
What's your,
They have two
take on
parking
this,
lots.
chief?
Well, like Mr. Bucko said, there is an increase in ridership, definitely. There are definitely more cars parked down there. Not as many as we've had. We had 2 ferries operating. According to state law, though, there is no minimum distance from a driveway.
Yellow lines are not?
Yeah, if someone put yellow lines there, that is illegal. It is illegal for anybody to paint yellow.
No,
I remember
they've all
that.
had them, they've had them for years.
No, it just
25 years.
we're not forcing them because it's not legal. For the permanent parking plan, we just got rid of that a few years ago. We did have one when we had 2 ferries operating. The problem was, we got rid of it because the residents later complained because the issue was, when they had family or friends come over,
They would get tickets.
they got tickets, and then they complained that there was a
Especially in the
process.
summer when
for
there's
it to
visiting
go.
people involved.
Well,
No,
that's
I mean,
not
I
true.
did speak to the
No,
administrator
no, I'm
about
saying,
this.
I know I had people, literally, not a lot, but 1 or 2 people come and tell me their sister-in-law was here or something.
Well, yeah, but you could get permits.
I get it, I
You could get
understand the whole
permits
process.
through that company.
Oh, no, I'd like to have a meeting with C Street, the administrator and I spoke about this.
You already talked to them, or you got them?
Now, we're gonna reach out to them
I
to
think you
see
should.
what their plans are, because like Mr. Cord said, they may be getting a bigger increase with bigger boats.
Yep.
I'd like to know what their plan is for that parking lot, and how they're gonna help abate this situation, or if we do have to take action with
If possible, you think
parking, or.
you think your administrator could schedule a meeting and have an answer, some kind of dialogue before the next meeting? It's basically 4 weeks away.
We can try, it's a
Yeah,
little
I
hard to
understand.
get a hold of C Street,
I understand.
they don't get back there right away.
I understand.
I know they have obligations per their agreement to operate business down there, to do capital improvements in their parking lot. They have failed to do that. And,
Yes.
I think it's prudent for us as a community. Everybody's spending money, we're doing streetscape, we need to get on them.
I think this is a good conversation to start.
Yeah, they're a great business and we have to embrace them, but at the same time, they can't be, poo-pooing on us.
They gotta hold up their end. We are holding ours, right? So,
Yes.
I think you can set that meeting up if you can.
We're gonna try
Please,
and,
Brian. Thank you.
I would just like to ask, I know, I spoke to Brian, I had, some residents from Locust also having concerns. Now you have the increased parking from Pompamore Point and the marina, so they're also seeing people
Yeah.
parking on the side roads.
Right.
Because Pompamore Point, I mean, that's a pretty popular park, it really packs up quick, and that's part of on the weekends, the Shore Drive gets filled up also.
And Marina's
So
at
they had-
100% capacity, so.
They had that concern as well, so I mean, if we're talking that end of town, can we just maybe talk the whole end of town and not just Shore Drive specific?
And I think to your point, we gotta start having conversations with, the good news is the businesses are, thriving, but it's time to have some of those conversations and hopefully have a better partnership going forward. Greg, you wanna weigh in?
Yeah, I'm sorry, not to go out of order, but my question was actually gonna be for Dale, related to the kind of the punch list for the Shore Drive project. We put a lot of new curbs in. Can the curbs at the corner of streets, can we get them painted yellow?
That's not part, that would be part of the project. It would actually be a lot cheaper if the borough wanted to pursue that on their own and do it.
Yeah,
For them to do that, it would be a heck of a lot cheaper than having me have a contractor on do it.
especially now when we're seeing.
Because I'll attest, pulling out of Marie, right across the street, I'm almost getting hit. Somebody's gonna hit me and it's gonna be a disaster.
In the M5?
There should only be
And
five,
six.
5 miles there.
Yeah, the problem is that people are parking right up.
Yeah, I mean, there's no
You can't
line
see
of sight,
they're
we
on the
talked
side.
about it on,
And all the cars are bigger, they're all SUVs, and so you can't see them.
and with all due respect to everybody's car, I'm worried about somebody getting hit personally.
Well, that's the
I have
next
3
one.
small kids.
But again, yeah, I mean, if we can get some of the part-time DPW people to just paint some of the curbs.
And that, I mean, I think we should really do that townwide, because you can't see coming out of Miller, you can't see any.
And to the point that we have here today, let's make sure everybody knows we're doing that. We don't do it at 6 in the morning and surprise everybody.
And benefits looks fantastic if you're always
We
sharp.
gotta communicate that also to the point that Mr. Lentz is 100% right. You good, Carol?
Well, yeah, and I would also like to ask the council and the police department to reconsider that one-way street on Valley. Because today Linden Avenue was closed all day. And so people that went in the jug handle, they came flying out of the jug handle to get down there, and there's no U-turn there. So they had to go in the church parking lot
Yeah.
and out and around. and
I would
it's
tell you
causing a
that-
problem.
Yeah, I would tell you that some of the things that we're doing as council are gonna change the, impact of that property where they're pulling into right now. So that's gonna have to be considered strongly in the next 6 months. I would agree with you on that.
It needs to be reconsidered.
I agree.
It was a, accidents happen, and
Well,
that
a
is.
lot of that whole dynamic's changing in the next, X amount of months.
Right.
So I think that the impact of that property is gonna go up dramatically, and the usage clearly is our intention. So I would tell you that I would think you're correct. We gotta look at all that stuff.
Thank you. I'm done.
Good. Name and address, please.
Tina Kemmer, 164 Linden Avenue, so the White Elephant, Linden Avenue. As we're going around here talking about Swift, I never knew that all of this work was going to be done on Linden Avenue. I live right off of it in the 24 complex condo. Ralph Street, William Street, then there's my complex. We had a whole bunch of work done for 2 weeks straight in May. When I asked the water company about it, they had no idea. This time when I asked some of the workers there, they had no idea how long they were going to take. They were contractors for the water company. I called the water company. They didn't even know there was work being done on Linden Avenue. Then I went down to Borough Hall, and I spoke with the great ladies down there. I spoke with Donna, and she was really sympathetic, but she had no clue. So I'm going around in circles, and Linden Avenue, of course, is closed off. I live there. The cones, I can barely drive through to get up into my complex. And it kind of comes and goes without notice. None of the residents were given notice. As I hear everybody talking with the ferry and how crowded it is, and it's getting more crowded with Pope Mora and everything else down there, we must realize Linden Avenue is a major artery. It goes into the heart of our town. It services our elementary school. It services this touch point of this huge commuting service that is a boon for us, and people can choose, Linden Avenue is always, a pot shot, chance that I take. I'm gonna go to Atlantic Highlands, screw that. And then you've got those multi-million-dollar homes that are gonna be coming up down there. So this is an artery that I think that we have failed to really look at carefully. Because I'll tell you something, when I'm driving in and out of that complex, now there's a gray van parked across from Brannan's, half up on the sidewalk. And when I'm trying to turn into my complex, that van is strategically parked so that cars can't get around me. And let me tell you something, they are nasty SOBs. They're like, get the F off, They're trying to go around to get to their ferry.
Sure.
And I'm trying to make a turn, and people are coming the other way. It's a major artery. And cars, SUVs, vans, trucks, they're parked all up and down, half crooked on the sidewalks. As residents do, there's limited parking. I wish there was a way that residents would be allowed to park in the gravelly area at the base of the school and not propped up on those dilapidated, awful-looking sidewalks with the grass growing and they're all cracked up. P.S. in the wintertime, they're never snow plowed. Try walking up to the bus stop to go into New York and take transportation. Forget it. You put your life on. It's a terrible situation down there on Linden Avenue. Not to mention, as we discussed last time about the safe routes to school, Waterwich, and I don't know what happened on Waterwich. Evidently, something where you thanked the fire department and the police.
They cleaned up all the weeds that you're
Oh,
talking
they
about.
did,
shrubs,
all
yeah.
along that area, God
That's who did
bless,
that.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But that is like a speedway, it's a speedway. And now with all of that work on Linden Avenue, and everybody being directed, going up there, I ride my bike, I like to ride out to the hook. I feel like I really take my life in my hands, let alone kids, well, thank God it's summertime, but it's an accident waiting to happen. The way they peel out of Waterwich onto the highway, or peel out of the highway down to Waterwich, and literally where those low-rent apartments are, a lot of times they park beyond where they should. People are peeling around and almost hitting some of those parked cars down there. I mean, it's really not cool. It's just a bad situation. And I've seen in the wintertime where the sidewalk from the school along 36 as long as I've been here, has never been plowed.
Takes at least the second day to get that done.
Well, I see mothers walking their kids on the highway while there is a police car with their flashing lights parked there when the buses are coming in. They have to walk around the police officer's car into the highway.
To your point,
To
I'm
get
agreeing with you,
into-
I'm not
into-
excusing it, I'm saying it takes the second day, because that's when one of us calls and says, hey, get that done.
Okay.
That's not an excuse, that's a reality.
I don't know if I've ever really seen it plowed the second day. I've never seen
Yeah.
that sidewalk strip plowed. It's,
I mean-
it's, that whole area, all I am concerned with, I've lived here quite a long time now, I have not seen anything happen with that. We really need to pay attention to Waterridge and Linden Avenue. We would be shooting ourselves in the foot if we don't do something about it, because it is a major thoroughfare in and out of here, into town, to the Pulte construction, Pocomora, you know, the Cuban restaurant there, and obviously C Street. And, you know, we just need to really pay attention to it.
We need to communicate better also.
And yes, we do. And what is going on with the construction on Linden Avenue? From what I understand, it's a main water conversion, but it seems like they're dragging it out forever.
Well, see, I think
Yeah,
the
no
problem
involvement
is,
there.
and
Yeah,
not that I
sorry.
can speak to it, because I myself was gonna ask Joe if we could put out some announcements, because that's a county road. So we really don't have any knowledge of the project. I'll be totally honest with you, this morning, went to jump in the shower, I
Yeah,
had no
and then you
water,
hear the
I
jackhammers,
had no
right?
water,
Right.
went to take a shower in the afternoon, contractor's fixing my toilet, so I apologize, I had no water again. So it was like all day long, not knowing, I actually thought maybe it was part of that transportation shutdown, because they stopped for like 2 weeks. So I thought
Yes, they
maybe-
did it over the 4th of July, like, so this is our heavy tourist season, and that's when they're doing the construction? I mean, come on, shoot me in the
And
other
they do
foot.
set up right at your high traffic time, you're trying to get out to work and they're mobilizing, so it's like, I mean, I'm sitting there
Right,
saying, can you stop, can you wait, can you do this? I mean, I have 3 large gaping holes in front of my house today.
I see, I know.
You know, running back and forth and whatever, but we had no way of knowing, I know this council wasn't made aware, but I think the only people that are made aware are the PD, because obviously you have officers there. So maybe if there's a way we can coordinate that through the PD to put out an announcement or something, even if it's on the website and not a
Anything.
Swift 911, 'cause I
An
don't think
announcement on the
whole county
website,
knows
anything.
that.
I'll go one step further.
Well, what we can do, you know what we could do is this, I don't wanna make announcements for the water company, because they should be doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't
I
even.
So
think what
maybe
we need
next
to
time,
do-
I'll just tell them, you're not opening up until you make them.
I think what we need to do is a very
But
pointed
as
letter.
far, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, very pointed letter to both the water company, natural gas, all the major facilities, very pointed letter legally saying, do not come into our town without notifying us properly. I agree with you, I almost got killed up, matter of fact, the car hit me today, in my Jeep no less. He wrecked his car, but his bad, but not my problem, because of the tightness. But we need to communicate back to these power companies that, you lack of words, I'm gonna say, don't shit on us.
Right.
Notify us, and we're gonna give you permission.
And then out to our community.
I mean,
And
and
our sewer committee.
personally, I mean, we know how long it takes to get projects done. I'd like to almost see a schedule from them, because we're coordinating road projects and we're opening up roads that we just paid to put in. You know, so they should have a schedule on what they think they're gonna be doing in the next year.
It would be good to know what the long-term, short-term of it is, and if they're gonna pave it over, because they're really ripping everything up. I mean, if this is a major thoroughfare, this ought to be in good shape, it ought to be safe, you know, with all of these cars parked
And once
on
it's
the-
done, it's done.
And now, it looks worse now because they're replacing the sidewalk with pavement, so.
And at the one,
I'm sorry?
They're replacing the sidewalk with pavement, where they're taking the sidewalks out. They're
Right,
making-
so they are,
making it all
they're,
pavement.
are cars still gonna park on Linden Avenue? Because quite frankly, I really find that, like, cars shouldn't even be allowed to park on Linden Avenue. If we've got so much traffic coming through there, we should have residents, you know, park at the school.
We parked in the school too for the construction, and then they locked the gate.
Yeah, there's several things. One, going back,
Where to go?
I know the town years ago, the center double yellow line was moved, as you can tell.
Yep.
Because there's always been a park on Linden Avenue.
Coming down.
Yeah.
Yes.
coming
Yes.
down, right?
Now, as far as like them parking across from your.
Intersection, right?
It's a driveway, it's not illegal.
Well, it's a service road. It's a
It's
service
still not illegal.
road, right?
I'm not saying we can't do something, but keep in mind also, we did have a traffic sign up there, and believe it or not, it's a county road, it's 35 miles an hour. 0.8% of the cars came down that road were speeding. And only by slightly, you know. So, and I know because I lived there for 21 years, so I do know. And we're open to anything, but as far as speed goes, I think it's more of a volume issue than a speeding issue, and it may increase.
And it's at peak
Absolutely,
points, obviously.
it is gonna increase.
Yeah, as
I mean,
far
and
as-
it's just with cars parking there, they do tend to bottleneck folks that are trying to pass you and they get impatient. You know the road
Yes.
rage out there now.
As
People
far
are
as the
nuts.
parking goes, there's a lot of houses with no parking. That's more of a, that's something to have to revisit, but I think that would be, I think the meeting after that would be a meeting to go to.
Or not.
No,
we
I
are open to
understand. I mean,
solutions, but.
Or
You
not
know, there was an
parking.
alternative to parking, say, down at the base of the school. The only other thing that I did want to mention too is that, you know, with all of this increased traffic and folks coming in and it's summertime, I can't tell you, between William Street, Ralph Street, and our service road into our complex, there have been UPS trucks, moving trucks, people, you know, coming thinking that we're a through road downtown. And there are no, as long as I've lived here, I can't think why we wouldn't put no outlet signs at each of those intersections, at those streets, so that, you know, people that come in, we're a summer town, you know, and some folks who maybe live in another part of Highlands don't realize, but it's not a through street, you know? I can't tell you how many times cars, and they barrel through really fast. We should have no outlet signs there, it's a pretty
You'll
much
take
a
a look at it,
no-brainer.
our administrator chief will take a look at that part of it.
Okay, thank you.
That's half the problem on Cornwall Street, is they think they're driving to Sandy Hook when they drive down, and they
I don't
think
disagree.
they think they can go somewhere. Then they gotta make a K-turn, and then.
How many times you see them on South Bay too, coming back, they can get to see right through there.
Art Gallagher, 158 Linden Avenue. Councilman King, you look great for not being able to take a shower today.
Yes.
And I've been through the same. There were days on Linden Avenue I could not get out of my driveway. And it was a surprise.
How do you go to work, right?
Completely.
Yeah, it was a surprise, and I called Tim Hill, who was, at the time, was back in May, and he says, we don't know anything about it. Well, the fact that we don't know anything about it, it's just really not acceptable. And I wouldn't take the tone, you don't get to shit on us, but I would say, you don't get to do this
It's not
work.
acceptable, right?
Just the fact that it's a county road, there's been Seabright cops and Highlands cops closing the road. Our cops still police that road.
Yep.
Don't let them close the road.
Right, that's
Just,
exactly right.
chief,
And
I'll have
honestly,
to look into it, there is a little more to it than just telling especially the utility company, just no. I do know that, I have to get more specific, but you can't just.
Yeah, but-
and whatever the law is, that's a law.
chief, please, let them be upset.
Yes.
Yeah.
The water company doesn't
Rather
need to
than
tell
our-
us
Yeah,
that.
but the water company,
They know
I
nothing.
understand they're a utility, but they're not our government, we did not vote for them,
Correct.
we did not empower them to close our road.
I
And,
agree, let
you know, if
them.
we need to talk to Freeholder Director or our own, or the county administrator or something else, I guarantee you they don't know that it's
Send a
not.
letter, exactly.
Just don't let them do it,
But it has to be.
Just tell the guys leave. until, you know, 'cause
Proper
it's just not acceptable that
Correct. Don't
they come close our roads, and they can't do
That
it.
same enthusiasm.
It cannot be, I mean, somebody, today, it was, and yesterday it was Highlands cops, last week it was Seabright cops.
Yeah, that's just when we can't fill them, that's all, 'cause sometimes we have so many road jobs. we just
But
can't.
somebody's authorizing cops to go there.
Oh, sure we are, there's no doubt.
Why?
Don't you want your water replaced?
I want it, yeah, but I don't want to be surprised.
Like I said, yes, the notification I understand, but there's more to it, just telling the utility company, no.
I'm not saying, no, I'm not saying no, don't do it. I'm saying, yeah, by all means do, but you gotta do this.
The notification, yeah.
I think to
And
their point, is Brian has to get involved in this and.
maybe you don't, maybe you don't do it in July and August.
Right.
Maybe you do it March, April, May, October, November.
Or September.
Yeah,
Right. Why hurt our town?
yeah, I mean,
I'll look into that.
but
Chief,
it's
just have
like,
Brian-
just because you're a utility,
Any
listen,
kind of letter, I mean, we're gonna send, make sure the two of you guys get together.
one of my proudest moments as a resident of this town is when Mayor Nolan stood up after Sandy and said,
Remember that? No, no.
saying
I
C Street is not opening until I get what we need. And it was like, it's our tech. So just because they're a utility or just because, boom. And the governor was taking his calls after that.
Oh boy, the big guns came out there on that one.
We gotta pull the guns back out.
I agree.
It's.
And you don't have to be nasty about it, you just say no.
You can be strong.
You
Yeah.
gotta,
The
you
right
gotta
way.
be legally strong in the letter
Gotta be
saying,
strong.
legally, not using my words, but using legally strong words saying we're not gonna tolerate it.
It's not happening.
It's not
Unless we're notified, you put the.
It's like, you're not working here today.
You put the, right, you put the
It's
criteria
like,
out
sorry
there,
guys, you didn't do what you have to do.
On a
Chief,
positive.
what is your average time of notification?
We might think give us 2 days notification.
So you know 2 days in advance that a street's gonna be closed.
Unless it's emergency general,
Emergencies, we don't say.
Then shouldn't that
general.
notice be communicated to the residents of the surrounding areas?
Well, that's gonna be up to the utility company. I don't see why we
don't
should.
see
do
why
that.
they should do that. 2
No,
days
yeah,
notice.
but
The
see,
residents should be getting
they
that
can't
notice
close
as
the
well.
road, only you can close the road. If you tell them, I'll close your road if you do this, this, and this, then they'll close your road, then they'll do it.
And we'll do that.
Right.
The other hand, I don't see, it's not be realistic picking and choosing what months you wanna close it. I don't say.
Why
No,
can't-
I'm
Why
not talking
not?
about that, Chief,
We
what I'm
got-
saying is the second you get not the second, the moment you get notice, if you're getting 48 hours worth of
Well,
notice.
what we do is,
You could at least within 24 hours notice the rest of the citizens.
CSUN just sent out an email to all their customers yesterday saying our summer traffic volume is way up. We opened a new parking lot at Doris and Ed's. We expect it'll be less seasonal traffic after the summer. So for whatever reason, more people are going into New York through our town in the summer this year, which is great. I hope they stop and they buy some coffee at the Waterworks and get a sandwich at Adele or have a drink at Doug's place, even though they don't park where they might want to park. But Chief, don't let them work until they do what you tell them to do. I've seen you do that before. I have.
I think here's what we need to do. Let's just put it on the table.
Notification.
Obviously, when you get the 48 hours, please let us know, we'll take our action.
Well,
At that point,
maybe,
you know, obviously Brian and Brian, right?
I will look into that legally, and if we.
Well, obviously Brian will be more than that.
Let them sue you.
But I think,
No, you're dealing with a lot of regulatory.
They're not gonna sue you. They're gonna do what you would tell them to do, Chief.
You're dealing with a lot of regulatory agencies, you're dealing with other jurisdictions, but as Chief Blue indicated, it's not so simple, but we will.
but there is something we can.
That's a bunch of gobbledygook.
Hang on, there is something we can send as a preemptive strike that, hey, we haven't been notified in a, you know what I'm saying, in a due time and da. And going forward, we're not gonna be cooperative, you know.
Well, we can do that, and see how we have, how we get.
48 hours, are you closing Linden Avenue?
It's better than nothing. Send out the SWIFT as soon as we know.
I don't disagree with
Like
you.
the same day,
I
so at
agree
least
with
we
you.
have more just
But going
ourselves.
forward, like, we'd like to know the overall plan, if somebody knows that at the county level and state level, before the Becky's one, we're ripping up something, and now they're coming in next month and doing the other side of the street or something, it's just stupid, doesn't make sense.
I tried to end on a positive note with the Monmouth County, one of the pre-construction projects with Streetscape. Monmouth County, they recognize that all these short towns that the county hosts, they have every intention of repaving a lot of them, probably next year and the following year. We're on that list, whether they get the money, but they did announce it at the meeting softly, they were like, we're planning on it. So that's probably why these power companies are doing what they're doing. They know if the county pays them, they're not going to
They don't have to, exactly.
So that's probably what I suspect. But we've exhausted the conversation. We know what we need to do. Let Chief Blue do his due diligence. Let Mr. Brian Jabaric do his thing, and let's move forward. But yes, I'm tired of it too. It's
Agreed.
disgusting.
Mandy, you have a question, even after?
Rosemary Valali, 248 Highway 36. I'd like to address the committee on two subjects. The first is communication. I communicated with the police department on Tuesday regarding the C Street parking lot. And I would like to tell everyone that I am so pleased that I made the call to communicate the fact that there were illegal parking in the fire zone. People were parking haphazardly. I get picked up in the evening by my daughter, and on two occasions, 2 consecutive nights, we were almost rear-ended on both nights because you can't see coming out of the parking lot. So kudos to the police department because they vetted it. I called C Street. C Street repainted a yellow line and put cones up because people were parking so far out into the lanes. So my point is to let everyone know by communicating to C Street and the police department, who in turn, I guess you call the fire chief to find out, in 24 hours, it is 1,000% better commuting into the parking lot. What happens on Linden and Waterwich, I walk every day down. It is a terrible, unbelievable way that people come whipping down 36, making the right on Waterwich. I have to do that jug handle because Valley no longer exists. I'm here 2 years. And when you took Valley away, I see all the people go through the parking lot, the church parking lot. I try to teach my children to do the right thing, that they're drivers. So we do Linden, we come up Bay Avenue, we do the speed limit. Cars go around us on Bay Avenue. It's the most absurd thing. And you know, we sit there and I tell my kids, just pull over. Because that's what's happening. So I think from a police presence now at the exit of C Street when they are docking the boats, there's a policeman now that will just allow cars, waving them out, so it allows the easement of that boat when it disembarks for that traffic to weed out. Where we need some help is on Waterwich and Linden to make the turn. In the mornings when I would go down when school was open, we couldn't make the left because cars are coming out or people that were waiting, school buses were waiting, and you couldn't get out. Now, I had reached out to Councilwoman Kane a couple of weeks ago that we were going to talk and I was going to come to a meeting last month. I didn't make it. I was so excited I showed up here last night, but there was no meeting. And I saw all of the police and firemen working. And my second agenda would be to create a committee with the Henry Hudson's High School. It's called Town and Gown. And a lot of other communities, not in New Jersey, but around the United States do this, where they take juniors and seniors and they allow them to do community service, be it maybe, clean up weeds, whatever it may be. But I think we should look into working closely with the school because we could get some of the kids to do this. Our uniformed men and women are doing this on their own time. And I walked through it and I was just like, guys, this is great. And I made mention on Miller, because I walked up Miller and all the encroachment of the trees. One of the police officers said to me, don't worry, we're getting there. We pulled all the weeds, but we're gonna cut that all back now. Because you have to walk in the street, because the sidewalk you can't walk on. So it's a great town. I'm here 2 years. I've listened to everybody. This is my first meeting. I think that if we communicate better,
Great.
and I did it just 2 days ago. But one thing I want to bring to a point. I tried and left several messages at Borough Hall. Unbeknownst to me that your clerk or someone was ill, I was able through a prompt to get through by pressing 0 right away that somebody picked up. There was an accident on Waddell and 36. There are 4 huge orange cones. There's a sinkhole at that corner. Well, 2 of those cones were hit. So they were, they were in the ground, they were in the street, and the sinkhole was exposed. As I walked my dog, I would try to, move things to make it, but it just wouldn't work. So I spoke to someone, and she told me that it was DOT. It's not something with the town. You have no jurisdiction over 36. I didn't believe that, so I called the Department of Traffic. The Department of Traffic reverted me back to town to tell me that it's not their deal, it's the town. So I just think that if the people who are representing us in Borough Hall, if someone's out, I get it. We need to have everyone better informed. I don't know all of the rules that you know. I do know that I'm a resident and I take pride in where I live and I try to, do the right thing. I think if everybody just tried a little bit more, it would be much better. And I think that what our policemen and fire department did last night was exceptional. We're going to be hosting a clam fest. People are going to come through here and literally put garbage all in our town. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way people are. They don't appreciate it. And here we are just trying to make it better. So I think you need to get the kids involved, and I think we need to communicate a lot better, and I'm very happy with having the C Street, so thank you very much. And they were very receptive to the painting and the tones, and I think if you guys have a meeting with them, they'll help, because they don't wanna have problems,
I
you
agree.
know?
They want it to be smooth sailing too.
Right, but the people that come through are pretty yucky, I ride with them a lot, so.
Thank you, though, man. Thank you for your comment. Mr. Gallagher?
Art Gallagher, 158 Linden Avenue. Councilman Card said something about a paving project that reminded me of an opportunity I wanted to share with you that you may or not be aware of. But the Monmouth County is doing shared services agreement with towns for paving roads. They're just finishing on Bam Hollow Road in Middletown now, with a six-figure savings if Middletown had done it themselves. So I wanted to bring if you've got more paving projects going forward, to get the county department of building and work public works to do it might save a lot of money.
That's what our new DPW supervisor Lou, right on that.
Good.
We already met with the county about that.
You've already met with the county?
That's why I'm smiling.
Good.
Thanks for bringing it to our attention, Arthur.
You're welcome.
Arnie, you have anything?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, Mr. or Mrs. Stockton?
No, thank you.
Good. Chief, you're good? Greg?
Yeah, 3 super quick ideas for Linden, because I know we want to get out of here. These are all, have to go to the county, I get it. Number 1, get the county to retime the light on the jug handle. The reason people are speeding out of C Street is because it backs up to that light. That light can be dynamically retimed so that when the C Street ferry lets out, we can let people get out of town quicker. State, county, yeah, somebody, but get it. Number 2, lower the speed limit. 35 is probably too quick. Get it, then it could be. Get it, yep. Number 3, parking on the sidewalks. I know it's the county road, but if those cars were forced to park legally, it would probably naturally slow cars down, because it would be a less width.
If they hit a car, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, you can't park on the sidewalks. If you push them out, it's a safety issue.
I know it is.
So can we, I mean, is that a county enforcement or local enforcement? Can we enforce?
First 2 are county or state, and the last one is island.
Yeah, the light state, the speed limit, we're still working on the grant for the pedestrian, I go on name, pedestrian safety.
Oh, we got it. We
We actually got awarded.
Well, we got that, we're still working on the
Safe routes to
Safe
schools.
routes.
safe routes,
Right.
I knew it was one of those.
I mean, can we get cars to stop parking on the sidewalk? That's a law, right?
That's the law.
Can we enforce that?
Oh, let me ask you a question, what's the intent of the law?
To have a safe sidewalk?
No one's complaining about walking on the sidewalk.
I am.
That's not true.
I complained about it.
So we are selectively enforcing the law. I'm just asking the question.
We do every day. Everybody can do that. And to think otherwise is just unrealistic.
So as a borough resident, I'm asking you to enforce a law.
Oh, let me ask you a question, is it, if everybody parks on the road, I'm telling you, everybody's going to do it. So we can do away with parking the road?
Let's force the issue by starting with what's the law.
Oh, so we have to
Do we remove the sidewalks? Maybe we should remove the sidewalks.
We have to look at safety. Do we want to remove parking?
I
Can
can
we
remove that
remove
to
the
council, but the
sidewalk?
law is the law. You can't park on a sidewalk in front of our school.
If I can just interject, I'm sorry, I know we're kind of really belaboring the point here, but you know, I really do understand where Chief Blue is coming from. If they park on the street proper and not half on the curb, they're gonna get plowed, because that is gonna make Linden Avenue.
But then they're gonna come in and
but
force the
even more
council
narrow.
to do something about it.
Well,
You can't, you can't,
lower the volume of parking.
maybe there's a
you can't
reappropriation.
ignore
right?
the law because it's difficult to enforce.
And they're not speaking, but it's not. My top concern.
What's your problem?
Can we have some improvements?
I know
It's a
exactly.
sidewalk.
Everybody.
Okay, we'll talk about this as a council. Anything else, Fred?
That's it.
Sir, you have anything? Dan? Dan? No? Good, okay. Thanks everyone for coming out. I'll offer to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great weekend, everybody.